Smith page, and I'm with Adulting 101.org. Here at Adulting 101, our mission is to influence a generation of young people to build a strong foundation for their lives and position themselves to better understand what they can contribute to this world. Through honest, transparent, and vulnerable conversations, we will teach impactful, meaningful, and applicable life skills that young people need to successfully navigate life. Now, if you're joining with us, today we're going to be finishing up part 2 of the strategic stress strategies conversation. We're working through the Adulting 101 curriculum, volume 1, on strategic stress strategies as we finish up part 2 of this amazing conversation. Now, we have Dr. Shahara Williams, Dr.S, an amazing holistic practitioner and mindfulness coach. So she has a lot of great expertise and insight about, just what stress is, how to manage stress, and the importance of doing so. And I want to pause you there. If you haven't seen part 1, I want you to stop this now and go check out part 1 and get caught up, because we really dig into that. And we also have Quentin, we have Jeremiah, and we have Kalindra joining us today. So we're so excited that you're here with us. So let's jump right back into this conversation and finish it up.
That's why social media is such, people stay on it for so long, and why videos are so popular, because people, when they are stressed, they come home, get on the social media, find funny videos, and it really helps them to declutter from the day, because it's a sound and an echo, and it really helps to relieve stress.
That,
Mm.
I guess that makes sense. Why when we come home and it takes so long to get out the car, is you sitting in the car playing on your phone, like looking at videos and stuff like that. So, that's real. Now, this is can be a whole nother conversation, but that's actually, what the social media, those systems that's trying to capture your attention. That's actually one of the things that's fueling it, is tracking, is tracking what your mood is, and it's throwing things out there that's going to catch you because you're in this particular mood. And I've seen
Yep.
documentaries where they really talk about it, like they'll measure how long you spend looking on a certain video, how long you spend with a particular picture on your screen, the sequence in which you do things. Those big data analytics really scoop those things up. Is able to say, hey, they probably feel this way. Let's give them this, and that's what really soaks people up and gets them going. It's kind of like, as you're talking about it, I'm seeing like there's this connection, because, we might zone out with social media, but there's also, zoning out the drugs, zoning out with this alcohol. It's like this level of, if I don't want to address this stress, if I don't want to deal with it, or if I perceive that it's too much for me, then I just tend to want to zone out and just pick it up, put it down to the side, take some time to pretend that it's not even there, and just, take a
Yep.
moment and go forward. And then lo and behold, I didn't do anything with it. It's still right here. That little snake is now a six-headed dragon of problems, and it's just compounding on it, compounding on it. I say that brings out the importance of actually dealing with stress. Quentin, have you yet? When did you realize the importance of like addressing the things that stress you
Um, Probably when me and my mom would go at it and we started to realize that we needed counseling in order to work together.
out?
That's when I realized that communication is a really helpful tool in alleviating stress and learning what triggers set off other people.
Now, so me and my mother, we butted heads so much. Like, I remember I was like a junior, senior in high school, and she called my pops and was telling him what I was doing. My dad said, "Kick him out the house. You think he's grown? Kick him out the house." So I understand, I understand that tension of like going at it with your parents. Now, I think I was about 20 years old, I actually called my mom and I was like, yo, mom, you know, all of those stuff I used to fight you on, I appreciate it. Like, I now see what you were trying to put in me. It just didn't make sense then. Have you gone through that transition yet? Recognize, like, man, my mama knows
Uh, a little bit. I'm still working on it.
still working on. Hey, it's gonna come, and Jeremiah, don't worry. You mean you still in middle school? You know, you got a couple of years, and your mom gonna bump heads a little bit. But remember, she knows what she's talking about. We got to understand
Yeah.
our parents know. And I think funny for me, Dr.S, like I think when I was in high school, I'm listening to my parents tell me stuff, and I'm like, they ain't never did nothing. They don't know what they talking about. Now,
Hmm.
now that I done did some stuff and lived through some stuff, I feel that same pushback sometimes, you know, when coaching and mentoring, I'm trying to tell these
Hmm.
kids, and they looking at me like I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm like, "Man, you're not gonna do nothing I ain't done. Like, listen, I'm trying to put something in you.
Hmm.
Oh man, this
Definitely
is
a challenge with me and my teens. Again, like I said, just trying to better understand them and being more open and not really projecting my issues on them, right? And I think sometimes as parents, we have to make sure that we are being mindful not to put our stress on kids because they will literally carry that. And especially boys, my son, when he see me stressed, it's like he gets stressed. So we just have to be mindful even as adults, and I'm just saying, to make sure that we are not projecting our stress on our kids by our conversation.
whoever wants to take this, Kalinja, Jeremiah, or Quentin, did you all ever kind of feel that weight as you were growing up?
I'm
Mm,
sorry, what weight?
Like in communicating, did you ever go through a situation where you might have felt like your parents might have been adding stress onto you unknowingly?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And do you think that when you were going through that situation, did you recognize what it was? Did you think it was intentional? How did it affect you?
It definitely wasn't intentional. Like you guys were saying earlier, I think it's communication is literally the key. If we all communicate, we'll all understand a lot better, and it'll stop a lot less, or it'll reduce tension in the household. When everyone has an understanding, it just
Mm,
makes the following that much better.
Understanding.
mm,
And that I guess when we're dealing with any type of relationship, when we're dealing with people on people, communication is always a huge thing, whether it's the relationship between a child and their parent, whether it's a spouse to spouse, whether it's a business partner, whether it's employee to subordinate. There's always a level of communication that could smooth things out.
mm,
Now, we've really, in this conversation, we talked about a lot of different avenues to actually mitigate stress and to handle it. One, we talked about different ways, identifying good stress from bad stress, knowing
mm,
that there is a difference and appreciating the good stress for what is moving us to. But we talked about that ball of energy building up and releasing that through either some type of physical activity or digging into a hobby like singing, journaling, writing. We've talked about it so many times, just how communication can
mm,
decrease that amount of stress between people. And then we've also talked about time management, better prioritizing, to be specific, prioritizing things, making sure the important things are taken care of first, and then moving on to the other parts. Um,
mm.
did we miss anything? Did we miss anything on different strategies to handle stress?
I definitely want to add something if I could.
Oh yeah.
It would definitely be breath work. You'll be so surprised how we don't breathe properly. And whenever we don't breathe properly, that can also cause stress. But if we breathe properly. And what do I mean by properly? You know, right now we're breathing because we're living, right? I'm talking
Yeah.
about a conscious breath where we're taking deep inhales and exhales and really allowing that cycle of breath to happen. And this technique that I always talk about, and I definitely want y'all to take note of this, for those that are here on the Zoom and for those that are listening, it's a technique called 4-7-9. You inhale for 4, hold for 7, and release for the count of 9. And doing that for at least 3 cycles, even if you're angry, you know, you're triggered, you're bothered, you're cluttered in your mind right before you take the test, or at any moment that you feel the tension and the stress rising, I want to encourage you to just take a moment and consider doing the 4-7-9. Inhale for 4, hold for 7, and release for a count of 9.
Would you like to walk us through a 4-7-9 real quick, one cycle?
I definitely I will. So if everyone can sit up, and I love to put the posture. That I'm a traditionally trained chiropractor, so I want you to sit all the way up if you can to get your spine upright. If you can, place your feet flat on the floor. Okay, drop your shoulders. You'll be so surprised when you stress. Your shoulders are closer to your ears. So whenever, just drop your shoulders away from your ears. Okay. And if you want, you can close your eyes or you can lower your eyelids or find something to stare at. And I'll just guide you through this moment of breath work. So here we are. Let me demonstrate. When I say a count of 4, that means that you're going to inhale through your nostrils for a count of 4. Okay. Then you're going to hold for a count of 7. And then when you exhale, I want you to exhale for the full length of the 9 count, if that makes sense. So when we exhale, we're just not going to, I want you to hold it. So it's, so you're really going to let that breath out. So you're going to expand your lungs. Then you're going to allow your lungs to retract. Y'all ready?
Let's get it.
All
I
right.
guess
So here we
I
are.
guess this gonna be a good COVID test too. If you got COVID, you ain't gonna be able to do this. So we testing for COVID with the breathing test.
But that's a whole nother topic because that's what COVID does. It restricts your breathing. So we're going to exercise our lungs. It restricts it physically and spiritually, but that's another topic. So let's get into the 4-7-9. Here we are. I'm going to guide you. Inhale for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. A big release. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So I really want you, okay, I'm going to give you 2 options, okay? You're going to have to open your mouth and allow the breath, or you're going to have to use the straw breath. Everyone has it? But if you're going to open your mouth, I need you to open. I don't want you to exhale with your mouth closed, okay? Because we are releasing those things that no longer serve us. Stress must go. So let's do it again. Inhale for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We got one more round, 3 cycles. One more time. Y'all ready? Inhale for 4. Expand your lungs. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. A big release. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And rest.
Oh, thank you for that. That's the second technique you've given us. We had the laughing technique earlier, and then you taught us the power of breathing. And again, I truly feel it in this moment already, like some weight and tension is off, and that's wonderful. Now, let's see. we've hit all the topics. We're about to get out of here. Before we leave, I want to give everyone an opportunity to, if you got any questions, comments, concerns, something that you wanted to ask. Jeremiah, let's start with you. You got anything on your mind? Any questions?
Not really. Honestly.
Awesome. I mean, Dr. S ran the gamut for us today.
Probably like deal with stress with school and stuff. Like how to deal with that.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll start with that. One thing I can tell you, Jeremiah, that I learned this in my later years in school. There's two small things that I learned that greatly decreased the amount of stress that I had in getting schoolwork done. One, pay attention in class. Sometimes when you understand what's going on, and some people, they're smart. You're a smart young man. Sometimes smart people don't pay attention in class. Well, in that time you're not paying attention, the teacher might actually say something that could save you time in the future. So one thing I learned is like literally, if I'm gonna be in class, being present in class, going there, I'm gonna, try really hard, not to talk to the people around me, not cut up. I'm gonna be focused in and listening. And the other big one is, committing to, a certain level of study. If I understood something, I wasn't gonna put a lot of extra studying into it. But if there's something that I didn't understand, learning to actually attempt to study it or going to the teacher, asking those questions, that's something that helped me out a lot with school and stress. Anybody else got any suggestions for helping out with school and stress?
I have one. What is a good way to talk to a loved one about stress in either your life or their life? Like, what's a good conversation starter?
Dr. S, take it out.
Well, definitely. Sometimes that's a very uncomfortable, conversation, but it's a necessary one. So sometimes it's just simply, can we simply talk? I think sometimes we can make it more complex by overthinking. When you can just simply ask a very, straightforward question: can we have a talk? And in that, getting away from distractions, making sure that you're in a place where you can give each other undivided attention, and just really allow it to flow. I think that really allowing yourself to flow from your heart in that moment really kind of overrides any type of strategic questions that you can come up with, because you don't know how that person is going to respond, but you're only responsible for how you respond. And so as you go into it, a simple question: can we have a talk? And, based off where that person is in the moment, I know as parents, I'm just taking me, for instance, let it not be, at a time where they're first coming home from work, and then, because we can sometimes not be as open. But as you see, let's even schedule a time. Hey, whoever the loved one is, around this time, do you think you'll be available for a talk? I want to schedule a time to talk. And so just nurturing it that way, but keeping it simple and try not to overthink it.
Okay, thank you.
You're on mute.
That's speaking right from the heart. Kalendra, did you have any questions or something you wanted to add on to Jeremiah or Quentin's question?
For Jeremiah, as far as schoolwork, just do it. Don't procrastinate. Don't wait to procrastinate. Don't wait to overthink it. Literally just do it. Because chances are, if you do it early and it wasn't correct, you'll have more chance of getting it correct before it's actually due than if you were to just procrastinate and wait to do it.
Yes.
Yeah. I need to take my own advice on that, but that's the best advice that I can give.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And you're welcome. And then I had a question for Dr. S. As far as stress, you gave us the laughter yoga and then the breathing technique. Are there any other techniques that you use personally that you felt like have helped you?
I also practice yoga. That is, stretching. You'll be so surprised how much we don't stretch. And so, actually, stretching is another stress reliever that I have found to really be beneficial to me. Movement, any type of movement, dance, and turning on music. If I can just share my room exercises, turning on some music, right? And just dancing. It doesn't matter if you ain't got no rhythm. I ain't have no rhythm, but I just move and it makes me feel good. And can I be honest? It doesn't always be church music, okay?
Okay.
But it's okay. I'm being honest because that's what we're here for. And
Yes.
it may be some music that makes me feel good. And I love the fact what you said earlier about the singing. Sing like no, like sing and dance like nobody is watching. And you'll just see how things just begin to probably don't even matter as much as it did initially when you just start doing things that really moves the heart. So just the inside out dancing and joking and laughing, just some of the things that are free. It's free to dance. And I'm a big advocate again, guys. If it gets too overwhelming, therapy, it's okay. You're never too young to say, okay, it's too much. I need to, talk with someone outside of my parents. And so making therapy okay. And it doesn't make you less than a person. It doesn't mean that your life is just in a spiral. You're just preparing yourself now for where you're going. And so we have to recognize stress, and we also have to implement the coping skills, because as much as we talk about coping skills, if you don't use them, it won't work. And one of the other things I wanted to add, last about schoolwork. I want you to write a list of things that distract you when you're trying to do your schoolwork. Is it the cell phone? Is it somebody calling you, to do something? Is it that you're more fixated on playing whatever game is in, or so I want you to really focus on when you sit down to do your schoolwork, what are the things that's distracting you and how can you eliminate those so you can stay focused in the moment?
Thank you so much for sharing that. Dr. S, any last closing? Oh, well, before, thank you for putting in that plug about therapy. Personally, I spent some time in therapy in my adult life, trying to come out of a dark, low place, and we went there, and I'm so, so grateful that I went through the process of going through therapy. I had different therapies. I had a therapy that was a mindfulness-based therapist. I had a therapist with pastoral counseling. He was actually a pastor as well, and both of them tremendously helped change my life and gave me even more tools and more tips to work and deal with stress. And sometimes having that, it's great to have an ear, somebody to vent to, but there's sometimes we go through very traumatic things, some huge stresses in our lives, and having a professional, somebody who can, someone who has the capacity to carry that. Because sometimes we might want to share something we've been through with somebody, and they might just not have the capacity to, even hear that burden out, to even be able to respond to it. And so sometimes, I absolutely agree with taking the time to go to therapy and getting that you needed. Um, Not any closing remarks?
Yes, I just want to say for those that are here with us and those that are listening that your mental health matters. Stress, if it's not dealt with, it can definitely cause underlying issues physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. So, definitely making that a priority. When you get to the point where it is too overwhelming, where your coping skills are not helping, you have to open up your mouth and say something so that you can get the proper help. You have to open up your mouth and say something so that you can get the proper help. You have to open up your mouth and say something so that you can get the proper help. So just make that a priority. Sometimes we make everything else a priority. And even at your age, it should be a priority. And what you do now can help alleviate the stresses of tomorrow. So really consider that, be in the moment, breathe, communicate, and just understanding that you have what it takes to be successful.
Thank you. I gotta fix it. Thank you again, Dr. S, for sharing that with us. Kalendra, Quentin, Jeremiah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining in on this conversation. I thoroughly enjoyed having this conversation with you all. I learned something in the moment. I felt like you all got some benefit out of it too, learned something. And viewers, I know you all at home definitely got something to benefit out of this as well. So, guys, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for doing this. I hope to have you on the show again, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening.
And move, and
And
move, and
move, and
move,
move.
and move, and
Hey,
move.
go out, dance, breathe, and laugh. Don't need no rhythm. Just go have some fun, get in motion, let all that energy
Yes.
out, and do you, do you. Now, um, all right, see y'all later. Clickety click, click. All right, later, guys. Now, to you all at home, thank you so much for joining with us on this conversation on strategic stress strategies. As you're walking away from here, I hope you have a better understanding on what stress is, the importance, why is it important to manage this stress? And then I hope you also got out some of the different strategies. Answer the question, what are some different strategies to manage stress? Now, you sat here, you joined us, and you watched this conversation, you joined in with us. I want to leave you with a call to action. I want to make sure that we're just not watching this video, soaking it up. So there's some things that I actually want you to do now that you've finished watching this video. All right. The first thing I want you to do is I want you to go through a process of reflection. I want you to take the time to, if you got to rewind this video, start it over, watch it again. If you happen to take notes, if you heard anything that you wrote down, go back and take time to reflect on some of the things that you heard in this video. Reflect on what it meant to you. It might have been stirring up different things or situations in your life that didn't come up for no reason. Those might be some things that you need to address and, come up with a strategic plan to address it. So anything that came up, make sure you take the time to reflect. Set aside a couple of minutes right now with this broadcast in to reflect over this video and things in your life. The next thing you do after reflection is let's get some application. We walked away from this with some actual tangible strategies, different things that we can do to mitigate, handle, and achieve things through without letting stress be a hindrance to us. So let's make sure we go after that reflection to apply some application with it. Now, if this video, the next thing I need you to do, if this video has benefited you at all in any way, all right, don't hoard it to yourself. I just want you to find two people. Not just find at least two people that I want you to share this conversation with so they can get some of the same benefits out of this that you have gotten as well. And then the last call to action, I want to encourage you to have these conversations with the people around you. Open up, be transparent, be vulnerable, especially if you're an older person and you have some young people around you, you have some people younger than you within your sphere of influence. It might be nieces, nephews, if you're a coach, work at the church, anything like that, you're going to have access to young people. I encourage you to have conversations with them about stress. Talk to them about some of the things that's stressing you out and how you deal with it. Ask them questions about stressors in their life, and then provide some feedback, provide some advice on different ways that they can handle that stress. It's about earlier in the broadcast, we talked about, Dr. S talked about creating a safe place to speak those things. So in the young people, the people around you, help make a safe environment for them to open up to you at, so that they can share those things and get them off their chest. Now, at the end of this, you're going to have a chance to see Dr. S's contact information. I think it's rolling across on the screen now. So, but at the end of this, you'll also see that. So if you need to reach out to Dr. S, would like to talk to her, would like to, work with her, please reach out to her. Now, as far as you'd like to contact us at adulting101.org, you see the information scrolling across the ticker. It's also going to be in the credits of this video. But I urge you to connect with us on Instagram and Facebook. It's at adulting101.org, at adulting101.org. That's our Instagram and Facebook. If you interact with us, go ahead and use that hashtag, doadulting. And then also, if you support the mission, if you support the cause, the purpose of adulting101.org, please donate to us to help us advance the mission. Cash out $doadulting. You can go to the website doadulting.org, and there'll also be some links there for you to give. Again, I want to say thank you again for joining us. Dr. S, Kalendra, Jeremiah, Quentin, thank you for your time. All you viewers at home, thank you for joining in on this conversation. Peace.